Cool. So this is what we're gonna read. We're gonna read a short story I wrote about my D&D character. Okay. Okay. This is where we're at. This one didn't actually make it onto Patreon at all. This was just something I did for funsies. So, Peppermint and the Golden Sheep by me. Let me put in my currently reading. We're not reading that anymore. I knew it would. We had the potential of stuff like that. I knew it, because I mean, it's a 100-year-old book. The Golden Sheep. Heck yeah. Peppermint and the Golden Sheep. So my character's a pixie. And this is the first time they left the Fey realm. I did it. Yes, I did. Of course I did. I set my mind to it and I do it. It doesn't matter what my parents say. Your job is to paint the leaves orange, Peppermint. That's your sacred duty. Well, no more. Besides, time didn't move and they were always orange. Now it's time for me and my flute to grace the mortal world, to take it by storm. Peppermint, the pixie of Pep, has arrived. I didn't know too much about the mortal world. I exited the Fey realm in a forest that was less vibrant than the ones back home. There was a little less magic in the air, less colour on the green leaves. I could fix that. By the time I left, the forest leaves were a rainbow of colour, not just orange. It didn't last long though. Suppose the mortal world just didn't play by the same rules. Well, I make things as colourful as I can for as long as I can. I passed over grassy fields and stroked the blades. They were shorter and cut. I wondered what could have done it. And then I hit something large and soft. I stopped. In the soft, confused a moment. The soft moved. I floated away a little bit. The soft was 3 times the size of me, covered in curly fur. Its neck bent down to eat the grass. It hadn't seemed to have noticed me, but I had noticed its lack of colour. Oh, you poor thing, so boring. Don't worry, I'll help you. With a wave of my hand, I gave the creature a shiny gold pelt. It wouldn't last long, but it was glorious and shiny. The creature itself didn't seem to notice, which was a shame, but I smiled at it nonetheless. So shiny. So shiny. Da 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 da. Oi! What you doing? I glanced over to the voice. It seemed a dirt road went past this way. A human with a cart was going past, and he stared over at me and the soft creature. Existing, good sir, I responded. What is that? He left his cart and came over. I obviously do spell check things very well, especially this one since it didn't go on Patreon, so it didn't really get a very good spell check. So please ignore that this text does not completely cover what I'm saying. He left his cart and came over, fascinated by the golden soft. As he should be. The creature looked glorious. It's a soft, I told him confidently. How much? He asked. I thought carefully. He wanted a trade. Well, that was easy enough. I ride to the nearest settlement and enough currency to see that I have a place to stay. He grinned at me. Deal. I grinned and followed him back to his car as he ushered the golden soft aboard. I perched myself somewhere so I could see, and we set off. The human told me I was not I was not far and gave me 3 silver, advising me on an inn that I could take with such a price. At some point the golden glow of the soft started to fade, so I made a wild gesture as I spoke to him and redid the spell. The soft deserved to be glorious for as long as possible. The human told me that it was really called a sheep, but this one is called soft now. We arrived at the town, and I bid farewell to the human, and found myself at that inn. The innkeepers were smaller than the humans, halflings. It was much nicer talking to them than the towering humans. They let me stay for a night on the silver and threw in my food and drink for free. How nice! I drank ale from the thimble and made a little back in tips from a song of autumn I sang for the patrons. Patrons? The patrons did not get the story. The patrons, however. I was about to drift into a festival song when the angry human from before barged in the door. So rude, ruining my performance. "Oi, pixie!" he roared. I blinked. Yes? Many of the patrons from the bar seemed tense. Some generally a little disgusted when he dragged Soft in by the neck. I smiled at the sheep and went to wave my hands to make him glorious and gold again, but the human roared over me. "He ain't gold!" He angrily pointed to the sheep. "I never said he was," I frowned. But He grinned, a vicious grin. So this is what the other Fae meant when they said humans were stupid. I flew close and whispered, "You never asked me anything about the sheep. You never asked if it was gold, if it would stay gold. You never even asked if it was mine." I giggled cheerfully before pulling back and declaring, "You stole the sheep!" Gasps and whispers echoed through the inn at my declaration. "Wait, here, you! Don't try and deny it. I saw you usher the sheep into your cart and whisk it away," I interrupted. I should tell the gods on you." At that he paled, and as I pointed to an accusing finger at him, he heard my voice in his head. "That is unless you leave me alone forever. Deal?" He nodded and scampered out of the inn. I giggled. "Humans are stupid," I muttered, before turning back to the room and making up a brand new song, Soft the Golden Sheep. Soft the Golden Sheep is a song about a sheep called Soft that takes a bath on the sun and becomes glorious and golden. They come back to the earth, only for everyone to want to shave it, so they decided to live in space instead. The end. That is the short story about Peppermint the Pixie of Pep and her first adventure in the world and the first human she ever tricked, I guess. Probably not the first human she's ever tricked. The first human in the mortal world she ever tricked.